اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام، عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء اليماني. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء، ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا ابنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء، فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم، وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن عاداهم، ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، واذهب عنهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. محمد وآله. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي يتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا. فقال الله: نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرنا ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهمومون إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغمومون إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذن والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يعدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الصلاة والسلام على الرسول المسدد والمصطفى الأمجد، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، محمد وآل محمد، وبآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم ومبغضيهم وغاصب حقوقهم من ليلنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم وهو أصدق القائلين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما كان المؤمنون لينفروا كافة فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين لينظروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحضرون. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. This ayah that I have recited is Surah number 9. This is Surah Tawbah, and this ayat is in direct connected to our conversation and our subject tonight in regards to the Wiladat and the birth anniversary that we are celebrating of our 9th Imam Muhammad Taqi Al-Jawad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Once again, I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful, for all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this wonderful existence and for giving us this opportunity once again to be the carrier, or to be appointed, or to nominate us, inshallah, to carry on the words and to share the knowledge of our Aimma Salamullahi alayhim ajma'een. And we extend, of course, our congratulations and salutations to our living Imam from his progeny today. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reap benefit from the teachings and the guidance that is provided by our ninth Imam, Imam Muhammad Taqi Al-Jawad, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Now, the ayah that I recited from Surah Barat or Tawbah, the literal meaning is that it is not necessary for the believers to march forth in battle all at once. Only a party from each group should march forth, leaving behind. You see, this is very crucial. Leaving behind the rest, or a group of people, to gain knowledge, then enlighten their people when they return to them, that they might be cautious. So technically, this verse is eloquent about the importance of knowledge and learning, that is, knowledge of Islam, knowledge of Deen, that Islam gives us even if the nation, like in extraneous circumstances, when the nation is surrounded by enemies and indulges in matters of the safety and security, Allah commands that a group of people must be left behind in acquiring the light of knowledge. Means Islam has made compulsory and obligatory upon every Muslim man and women to acquire knowledge as far as Ilm-Din is concerned. Now, to continue with our subject tonight, discussing the era of Imam Al-Jawad, who is known as Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salatu wassalam. And this has got some bearing on the Shia development, and it's very important. I mean, there are so many doctrines that have been developed by these three Imams, especially the last three Imams. The teachings that we have now, that literally transpired, was entrenched and solidified, as I said even yesterday, by the 9th, 10th, and 11th Imam. But the 9th Imam is the founder of one of the most important part of our doctrine in the Ja'fari school of thought, which is known as the doctrine of ijtihad. Means to research into ilm-din, into the knowledge of Islam as far as deen is concerned. And this has got some bearing on our development, and it's very important that we know what we have today. We have inherited most of this, the majority of this doctrine of ijtihad, which formulated itself, which took shape during those days in the time. And I mean, candidly, Imam Jawad literally taught us that now the time of ghaibat is approaching, and this is the way Islamic knowledge should be imparted and delivered to the Muslims. And this was the effort of our Aimma. Had it not been for him, we would not have been blessed for what we have today. Now, we have to remember that the group and the millat, the community, or the group and the millat and the mazhab which we attach ourselves, for this mazhab or for this group, this guidance has been ordained from day one. From day one, from the Prophet, and after the demise of the Prophet, starting from day one, from Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So the guidance for our millat, our community as Shias, or the lovers of Ahlul Bayt, has been ordained from day one. Now, because the time of occultation of the 12th Imam was approaching, the ghaiba was approaching, of course, first the minor for 74 years, and major occultation of the Imam of our time was at hand. It was very near. In that context, today I wish to talk tonight about the contribution of our ninth Imam towards the intellectual and spiritual development of the Muslim Ummah, especially us. Now, when the time or the Imamat of Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam commenced, how much time do you think? How much of life did he have? I mean, if you see, most of our Imams have died in a very young age, especially when you see the time, how much life did he get before he was martyred? If you look at history, the ninth Imam, Imam Jawad, his age was 25 years prime of youth. Only 25 years, mu'mineen. And he died at the age of 25. After him came Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam, our 10th Imam, his son. Age, 41 years. And then Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, his son, our 9th Imam's grandson. Age, when he passed away, when he was martyred, 28 years he was martyred. So the span of life, the span of time between Imam Muhammad Taqi al-Jawad and Imam Hassan Askari is hardly 50 years. See, the margin of these three Imams is hardly 50 years of age. And of Imam al-Zamana, when he goes into Ghaibate Sughra, means the minor occultation. The minor occultation commences when he was 5 years. The period of Ghaibat al-Sughra is it's known as 74 years, where he was accessible only through his naibs, nominated by him. Those four, the Wabe Khas, as we call it, appointed by him, up to 329 Hijrah. Up to 329 Hijrah. After that commenced Ghaibat al-Sughra, Ghaibat al-Kubra. So in this short span of time, who laid the foundation for scholastic learning and research development in Islam, in preparing the ulama to the level of ijtihad, is Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam. I'm sure you have heard this before. This example, sometimes it is presented as a mu'jiza, as a to recite salawat. But we have sometimes, I mean, even the younger generation that is coming in as we speak, they do not understand the implication of what literally transpired because of this incident that transpired in the darbar or in the court of Ma'mun al-Rashid. Ma'mun is usually sitting with his great ulama. He was not a friend to the Ahlul Bayt. As much as he tried to put down our 8th Imam and the 9th Imam, Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now, to continue, I think we are having some sort of sound problem maybe again, but I think now Mr. Shirali says he's okay. So, Ma'mun was no friend of Ahlul Bayt. He was trying, candidly, as he tried so many times, to put down the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. And he is sitting with his scholars. The courtyard is full. And the most prominent mujtahid of that time of Ahl Sunnah, of the Sunnis, the name given is Yahya ibn Aqsam. I'm sure you have heard this waqia. But this waqia, this incident has got a dire and very grave implication as far as our doctrine of ijtihad is concerned. And we have to understand this. The most famous personality is Yahya ibn Aqsam, the most learned scholar of that time. Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam has been invited to this session and is also there. And Ma'mun says that this is pointing towards Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam, Imam Al-Jawad. And he says this individual is the inheritor of the knowledge of the Prophet and Quran. And he is from the progeny and imamat on whose house Quran was revealed. If anyone in this courtyard, I mean, there was many scholars sitting there, has any questions amongst you, wish to ask any questions, do not hesitate. Go ahead. Now listen to the question. Very simple question. So the most learned scholar is Yahya ibn Aqsam. And he asks Ibn Rasulullah, if a person in the state of ihram, you know, when we go for Hajj or when we go for Umrah, the cloth that we don with the niyyah of ihram, that is known as the state of ihram. After that, so many things become haram on us. We are not certain, so many items, we are not allowed to do this and do this, etc. So he asked Ibn Rasulullah, if a person in the state of ihram wishes to hunt or goes hunting, what is the ruling according to Sharia? I'm sure you have heard this before. But how this has got an implication on the doctrine of our school of thought, we will discuss this today. Hunting in the state of ihram. Now you'll be amazed at how Mawla has replied. And this is always, you know, you'll be amazed at how this is presented as a mu'jiza of Imam. But let us ponder over as to why Imam replied in the manner that he replied. And this was a message that he gave us and our scholars to this till this time in the 21st century. Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam says, Yahya, before I reply, tell me that this hunting that was done in the state of ihram, was it the ihram was for Hajj or Umrah? So ihram of Hajj or Umrah. So he opened up two aspects of one question. And then he started, and now maybe we can start counting, but you know what? There are so many options that he has given out that I cannot give out every one of them, but I'll just give you a gist of it. Now, two aspects of Umrah or Hajj. Now, the one who went for hunting is a slave or a free man. You know, at that time, there was this concept of slavery. So, if this person who is in ihram is a slave or a free man. So, another two aspects, so total four. Now, hunting was done during daytime or nighttime. So, this is 6. Now, did he kill a small animal or a big animal? 8 options. Hunting was done within the area of the haram, you know, where Makkah is, in the area of the haram, or outside the haram, outside the hill. Means outside the area of the haram. So, this is maybe 10. Now, Yahya, tell me if he's a first-time hunter or he hunted before in the state of ihram before as well. So, that is 12. Yahya, he says, after hunting, does he repent and ask for forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or he is stubborn? He does not repent. So 14 or 16 maybe. Now, brothers and sisters, mu'mineen, 22 ishkal means 22 options have been narrated of one question. I mean, we can imagine the impact of one question in Islam when we learn the laws of jurisprudence of fiqh, ilmul kalam or ilmul rijal or whatever it is. There are so many options, and the base of these options is, of course, Quran. And he says, I mean, for 22 aspects, read history. I mean, and when Yahya ibn Aqsam heard this, he said, Ibn Rasulullah, I never thought of it in this manner. I thought it was a very simple question. And now you have opened up, like, you have literally pierced through this question and opened up so many options and aspects. And then Imam replied that, oh Yahya, fiqh Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa has to be understood in this manner. Now you see what our mujtahid does. That the jurisprudence, the laws of Islam and the fiqh Muhammad Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam has to be understood in this manner, that there might be one question, there might be one issue but there are so many technical issues behind it. It has to be pierced through. Now, Imam is paving and preparing a path to forecast that the mujtahid who will come at a later time in Ghaibat Kubra, means our time, this mujtahid who will be from amongst us, our followers, and the principle and foundation of his knowledge will be unique. Because why? Because out of that principle, the one who researches and brings forward all aspects of one mas'ala, pierces through the delicate layers of ilm, is known as mujtahid, my friends. This is ilm of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Very simple thing to learn about masail fiqh and jurisprudence. For example, when we teach students about, say, Furwaidid, about the tenets, namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, khums, etc. And then we teach them sifat subutiya. I don't know if our students, they know sifat subutiya and sifat salbiya today in our madrasas. I hope they know, inshallah. It's something different, but this is straightforward. Sifat subutiya, sifat salbiya is totally different. It's straightforward. But to research into masails and bring forward different aspects of that particular mas'ala and come to a conclusion is a humongous task. I'm asking you a question. I mean, there are so many scenarios that we can give out. Like, I go fishing, I robbed, I thieved, I swiped the fishing line. The fishing line is not mine. I took it without permission, the line itself. Now that bait, the bait that goes onto the hook, is also swiped. Means I did not buy it or purchase it. I stole it from the shop or whatever, without permission. Now the fish that I catch, is it halal for me to consume or haram? What is your reply? Fishing rod is ghasbi. The bait, chambo as we call it in Swahili, is ghasbi. It is robbed, stolen. But the fish caught, is it jais for me to consume or no? Because both of them are ghasbi. Now this is a dilemma or not? There was a time like people, like another aspect, a person or a young boy who is born out of wedlock, means without nikah, waladuz zina as we call it. And a girl also, he is marrying a girl who is also waladuz zina, means they were born without nikah, but they are both getting married and nikah is performed. Now their children, are they halal zada or haram zada? You see another scenario. My electricity has run out in my house, but I know because I am an electrical engineer or something like that, and I go and swipe electricity from my neighbor's house. Okay, fine. That is not right to do. But the thing is, with that electricity, I went and cooked food. With that electricity, I cooked food, which was swiped. Now, can I consume that food or no? Who's going to decide? My Wi-Fi is not working, for example, and I hacked into someone else's Wi-Fi. And I do my assignments on someone else's Wi-Fi. Now, is it jais for me to perform that act or no, or whatever I've done assignment? What is it considered as, halal or haram? So you see, my friend, it's an endless work of research that a mujtahid performs. And there is something in Sharia, in fiqh, what we call usul. Usul means the foundation, the root and the base law. Out of that base and that foundation, to derive various aspects and branches from that one law is called ijtihad. Sometimes the mujtahid replies, it's haram, it's halal. But sometimes it's ahwat this, and optional this, and refrain from this. You see all these options that have been given to us by our mujtahid in this manner. So our ninth Imam is the founder of this learning, of this piercing through the knowledge. Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salam, he is trying to explain to us that time, he is trying to explain to us that you may be asking one masala, one question, but let me show you how many aspects, how many options, and how many branches are derived from that one question and that masail. And of course, Imam goes and asks him a question, and that I don't want to go into details of that one because it will consume too much of time. But my point is that when you see this ayah, which is ayat Tawbah, وَمَا كَانَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ لِيَنْفِرُوا كَافَّةً فَلَوْلَا نَفَرَ مِنْ كُلِّ فِرْقَةٍ مِّنْهُمْ طَائِفَةٌ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ لِيُنْذِرُوا قَوْمَهُمْ إِذَا رَجَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَحْذَرُونَ. This is a clear indication in the Quran that the importance of knowledge and learning, that even if there are dire circumstances on a nation, you cannot afford to send every person out as soldiers to fight. Someone has to remain. Group of people must be left behind in acquiring and researching the light of knowledge. Means Islam has made it compulsory, as I said before, obligatory for every one of us, you and me, to acquire knowledge, ilm din, and I'm talking about ilm din. So now, so many aspects have been generated, but and that Yahya ibn Aqsam, I mean, he was totally amazed. He was astounded. And I mean, for him, it was outstanding, this sort of what we call the deliverance of the knowledge, the way it was branched out by our ninth Imam. And he says, he stood up and to say that Ibn Rasulullah, only Allah knows how and where to send or keep his risala and to keep his imamah. He accepted. The time of Ma'mun was not too happy anyways. But this was the end result. If we understand this, now this is clear, that what efforts and rigors that a mujtahid has to pass there to obtain this kind of knowledge and attain the position of ijtihad in religious education, my brothers. And not only religious education, contemporary issues as well. And today, there are so many scholars who have come out of learning for 1 year, 2 years, or madrasas or whatever, and they give out their own fatwa, pampas, that there is no need for taqleed. There is no need for taqleed. Now, taqleed is a basic thing. If I am sick, I have to go to a doctor. That is, I'm making the taqleed of that doctor because he's going to make me well. Similarly and simultaneously, I don't give you, I'm sure I'm talking to educated people, but it's just simple. That if I need for my health purposes to see a doctor, that is taqleed of a doctor. And I need to consult an expert. And therefore, religious knowledge also, the masails that prop up every day in this 21st century of so many issues. Who's going to decide whether it is haram or halal? So Allah, in his ultimate mercy, and through the Prophet Aimma, especially who laid the foundation for this, is our ninth Imam, allowed the flexibility for the Ummah to follow a mujtahid's ruling. To follow mujtahid. If he decides and issues a certain ruling, the responsibility is his, not yours and mine. It is his. And people under his taqleed, whoever try to follow his rulings, are absolved of that responsibility. They are absolved of that responsibility. Hence, it is my sincere appeal. Now, this is what a mujtahid is. If you open any risala today, for example, Ayatollah Sistani, Ayatollah Khoui, or Kadhalik, every one of them open the first page and says, either you do taqleed or follow whatever is written in this book, or you raise yourself, your knowledge in Islam or the knowledge of deen in such a manner that you all first become a mujtahid. They have not just, put it upon us by force that you have to follow a mujtahid. It's optional. Either you become a mujtahid yourself, or for safety and the preservation of your a'mal, whether they are correct or whether they are incorrect, we follow a mujtahid. For example, now, before I finish, I have to say this. Whoever is listening, and I'm requesting tonight, all the parents, whoever is listening, and whoever listens in the future, inshallah, all the parents on this auspicious night, right now, before we end this program, if any one of us has not made a niyyah of taqleed to follow the ruling of a certain mujtahid, is advised to do so. It's very much advisable to do so. Please make an intention of taqleed tonight if you haven't done so, that I shall follow this particular person, this mujtahid. It can be anyone. It can be Ayatollah Sistani, it can be Ayatollah Ruhani, anyone. Even if you feel that there is a very learned person in North America today and you do his taqleed, it's up to you. There is no difference. I'm not suggesting any names, but you are free to choose and follow. And once we have chosen a mujtahid, a niyat is made, then please obtain and try to obtain his book, try to obtain his risala and refer to it, try to read into it, or the masail, so that we have basic knowledge of exactly what is going on in the laws of jurisprudence. We have to read and understand to that our amals and our acts of worship may be saved and not go to waste. Because all the mujtahids are unanimous in this, that if a niyyah for taqleed is not made, then all the ibadah, all the acts of worship performed, if it comes, now if I have not made a niyyah of taqleed, any action that I do, if my action, for example, that action falls or comes according to the ruling of any one of the mujtahids, I am saved. But if it doesn't fit under the rulings of any one of the mujtahids, then my amals will go to waste. My amals are questionable, as they call it. So it is my sincere request that we do so, my brothers and sisters. وآخر الدعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Once again, we salute and we congratulate our 12th Imam on the birth anniversary of his great-grandfather, Imam Muhammad Taqi, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi ajma'in. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Hajj al-faraj.
أفضل الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله محمد وآل محمد صلوات صلوا على محمد हिम्मत थी किसमें दर खैबर को उखारे अंतर को करे ज़ेर व मरहब को पछारे गहवारे में लेटे हुए अजदर को भी फारे डूबे हुए सूरज को जो मगरिब से उभारे ये कौन अजाइब का मज़र कौन वली है ये मौला अली मौला अली मौला अली है ये मौला अली है ये मौला अली है ये मौला अली है काबे में है मौलूद के सीपी में गोहर है ये नूर की बारिश है के हुर्रों का सफर है दीवार बने दर ये तो है दर का सर है मक्के की फिजाओं में भी फैली ये खबर है किस नूर से मिलने को चला نور نبی ہے یہ مولا علی، مولا علی، مولا علی ہے یہ مولا علی ہے، یہ مولا علی ہے، یہ مولا علی ہے۔ کعبے سے امامت کی کرن پھوٹ رہی ہے، ہلچل ہے ملائک میں کہ صف ٹوٹ رہی ہے، کفار و منافق کی کمر ٹوٹ رہی ہے، مکے کی زمین در نجف لوٹ رہی ہے، قدسی کی صدا کا مطلق صرف یہی ہے، یہ مولا علی، مولا علی، یہ مولا علی ہے۔ افضل الصلاة والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ محمد وآل محمد، صلوات صلو علی محمد۔ اب سر پہ کوہ علم ہے اور چرخ بھی ہر لہجہ میرے در پیغم ہے، افلاک کی گردش سے میرا ناک میں دم ہے، میں قطرہ ناچیز ہوں تو بحر کرم ہے، حل کیجئے مشکل میری اب دیر ستم ہے، عباس علی تم کو سکنا کی قسم، تکلیف کے ہاتھوں سے میرا حال ہے ظاہر، ذلت مجھے دکھلاتا ہے ہر دم فلک پیر، محتاج سمجھ کر کوئی کرتا نہیں توقیر، فریاد ہے دو داد میری بازوئے شبیر، حل کیجئے مشکل میری اب دیر ستم ہے، عباس علی تم کو سکینہ کی قسم ہے، اس وقت میں ہوئے گا میرا کون مددگار، اس وقت میں مونس نہ کوئی یار نہ غم خوار، آقا میرے میں کس سے کروں درد دل اظہار، سن لیجئے اب بہر خدا یہ میری گفتار، حل کیجئے مشکل میری اب دیر ستم ہے، عباس علی تم کو سکینہ کی قسم ہے، افضل الصلاة والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ محمد وآل محمد، صلوات صلو علی محمد۔ توجہ زیادہ، السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیک یا امیر المؤمنین، السلام علیک یا فاطمة الزہراء سیدتی نساء العالمین، السلام علیک یا حسن المجتبی، السلام علیک یا ابا عبد اللہ، وعلى الأرواح التي خلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولى وابن مولاه، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. السلام عليك وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، أجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر، وجلل الله من شيعتك وعوانك والمستشهدين بين يديك. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين، لتعجيل الفرج ولقضاء الحوائج ولشفاء المرضى وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. رحم الله من يقرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.